Greetings, citizens of the West, and welcome to this channel where we sift through the chaos of our modern age. I'm Doug TenNapel with a message that echoes through the corridors of time. There's a storm brewing across the Atlantic, a tempest of controversy swirling around none other than JD Vance, our Vice President of the United States. Just a week ago, he strode on stage at the Munich Secretary Conference, not merely to talk shop about NATO budgets or missile counts, but to issue a clarion call to Europe itself, really to save itself. A continent that is teetering, he warns, on the brink of civilizational suicide. And that storm, it rages still. What did Vance say that's got the chattering classes of Brussels and Berlin clutching their pearls? He spoke plain truths, the kind that sting because they hit the mark. Europe, he declared, is at risk of engaging in civilizational suicide. They're unwilling to control their borders, limiting free speech of their own citizens, unquote. Words like that don't win you polite applause at cocktail receptions. They spark outrage. They draw battle lines, and yet there's one dared to call them false. The German defense minister sputtered that it's, quote, unacceptable, unquote. The EU's foreign policy chief sniffed that Vance is, quote, trying to pick a fight, unquote, just for telling the truth. But notice what's missing. Not one of them said he was wrong. Let's peel this back, shall we? Vance isn't just tossing red meat to the MAGA faithful back home, as his critics sneer. No, he's speaking to the soul of the West, Europe and America, twins of a grand tradition forged by the fires of Athens, Rome, and Jerusalem. But my God, he says, it's getting hard to recognize our siblings across the sea. Where's our brothers in Britain? Where is the greatness of the European West? They've shackled their own voices, he charges, censoring tech platforms. When Elon Musk dares to host Donald Trump on X, annulling elections in Romania when the vote doesn't suit the left's taste, threatening to ban Germany's alternative Für Deutschland, even if it wins a majority. Quote, if your democracy can be destroyed with a few $100,000 of digital ads, unquote, Vance quipped, quote, then it wasn't very strong to begin with, unquote. Tell me that's not a dagger to the heart of Europe's smug, white, rich elite. And then there's the border, or rather the lack of one. Vance sees a continent drowning in its own openness. Germany, there's 16% of the population wasn't born there. France, not far behind, and a doubling of non-EU immigrants in just 1 year, all while their leaders shrug and call it progress. What are they thinking? He ties it to the Munich car ramming attack, 36 souls injured by an Afghan migrant, and asks, quote, how many times must we suffer these setbacks before we change course, unquote. It's not xenophobia, it's arithmetic. Europe's fertility rate limps at 1.5, 1.5 kids per couple. Germany's at 1.45, numbers that spell decline while unassimilated millions pour in. Vance isn't preaching hate. He's pleading for survival. But here's the rub. The subtext that keeps the bureaucrats, I'll call them Eurocrats, up at night. Vance isn't just diagnosing, but prescribing. Close your borders. Legal immigration only. Boost your defense budgets. Germany's 1.5% of GDP won't cut it when Russia's war machine grinds on Ukraine's doorstep. And this is your responsibility. It's on your landmass. Free your speech, says JD Vance. Stop jailing Brits for praying near abortion clinics or Scots for thinking the wrong thoughts in their own homes. Deregulate, cut taxes, unshackle your economics from the Green New Deal madness that's quadrupled your energy costs while BMW and Mercedes sputter against cheaper American competition. It's a playbook ripped from the Trump years, battle tested in the Biden nightmare we've just endured. Quote, we've been there, unquote, JD Vance says. Don't follow us down that abyss. The critics howl and he's meddling and he's cozying up to the far right, they say, meeting Germany's Alice Weidel while snubbing Olaf Scholz. They're half right. Vance is meddling, but not for sport, for salvation. He's trying to save the West. He's betting on the people of Europe, not for their fossilized governments. Look at the horizon. German elections loom and the AfD surges. France teeters toward national populism. Even Britain might turn if the people wake up. These aren't fringe lunatics. They're voters fed up with a one-party system masquerading as a democracy, a system Vance calls, quote, closed, unquote, libertine yet oppressive. That is, they're open to any kind of sexual bizarre trait you want, but not free speech. And mark this, quote, to the left of our radical Democrats, unquote, he's telling them, rise up, reclaim your heritage, and we will stand with you, Europe. History whispers in the background here. Rome fell not just to barbarians at the gates, but to rot within. That, I believe that's the primary source. Elites too, decadent to defend what their ancestors bled for, both UK and America. Vance sees that shadow creeping over Europe, and he's waving a torch. America's not perfect. We've got our own reckonings to deal with, but he's offering a hand, not a lecture. Quote, we're on the same team, unquote, he told Munich. Yet his parting shot, quote, good luck and God bless, unquote, hints at a warning. Save yourselves because we can't save you. The transatlantic bond forged in World War and the Cold War, World War II, hangs in the balance. If Europe needs him, this could be a new dawn. And JD Vance will likely be our next president. So he's actually creating roads for the future. If not, well, the West may fracture, not by Russian tanks, but by its own hand. I'm Doug Tenaple, and if you found this worth your time, hit that subscribe button. Join us as we wrestle for the fate of our civilization. Until next time, keep thinking, keep questioning, and thank you. This is how we save the West.